Hello, my name is Junie, and this is Monique. We both, I think everybody knows us. We do little podcasts and YouTube videos. We were doing about I think mostly relationships for a while, but one of our likes or interests, and I'm not going to say is actually knowing about or learning about murders that are happening. And it's not so much of that we enjoy it, it's more of the whole mentality of it. Where do people snap? Why do people snap? Why is it that there are murders going on in the first place? I think that's one of our questions. Like, that does not make any sense. You can either go biking, fishing, or murdering, and that's what you do. So I'm just very confused about that. So we're going to share a couple of interesting topics. And today, the first one I'm going to do about is Melinda Pleskovic.
Okay.
Um, yeah, very loved. So I have a question for you, Monique. If you were responsible somehow for a parent's murder, how would you feel?
What do you mean? I was the one that actually murdered them, or
No,
my actions got them murdered?
in a sense, yeah.
If my actions got them murdered, and my intention was never to hurt them, I would feel very guilty. Where you wouldn't be able to console me or to tell me otherwise, but I think I will have this guilt that followed me for the rest of my life.
You feel like you are serving time, then you would be serving time outside of being in jail, I'm guessing.
Yeah, mentally, yeah, I would think so because you will have that guilt, especially if you loved your parents. I think you will have that guilt of, sorry for the motorcycles, you have that guilt of that because of your actions it happened unless you don't see your parents as your parents.
Well, this girl loved her parents. This is about Melinda. Her name, they called her Mel. She was a sixth grade teacher in Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio,
Mm-hmm.
um, and very, very, extremely loved by everyone. I mean, this is the lady of the community. This is the lady that everybody. She was hanging out with graduates like from high school and stuff like that because she also taught. She was on a soccer team, like she was a coach for a soccer team. She did all these things, and there's like tons of pictures of her with like her kids that graduated and hanging out with her. She's just so part of the community, and this tragedy occurred and happened to her. So she was married to a man named Bruce. At the time of the tragedy, she was 49 years old, but she accomplished a lot. She had three children. The first one is Megan, who was the oldest. Then she had Anna, who's the second, and then she had Kyle, and Kyle had Down syndrome, so she was very, very close to her son, um, and everything else, which you'll find out is really even more worse than it gets. So
Mm-hmm.
eventually, Megan moves out, the oldest, and Anna has a fiance, and his name is Jeff Scullin. Um, if you look at his pictures, if you don't, I don't know if you could pop up his picture in this. He just looks,
He looks
when you
nefarious,
look at
or
somebody,
yeah.
yeah, like as somebody who, I know we shouldn't judge people on looks and character and what they look like. This guy looked like there was something wrong with him.
What
I'm
did
not
he
saying
look
this is their fault. He just looked suspect.
like?
He
Menacing,
looks.
or like he was up to no good?
He just looked like he lost a couple of screws.
Mm,
But uh, what happened was, he is now the fiance of the second youngest, Anna, and they were also expecting a kid, and they are now, about to get married. So Mel ended up saying, "Hey, why don't you live here at my house?" And the weird thing is, he moved in, and then weird things started happening. So, like one time, Anna and Jeff were outside, and they said that they saw four people standing on the other side of their yard. It was like a shared yard for all the
okay.
neighbors.
Okay.
and they were staring at them and everything else. And then finally, the four people, one of the guys in that group came over, and they called. Finally, Anna felt weird. She called the cops. They came. They said that they didn't see anything, or they didn't see that there was people there at one point in time, but they took that down. They reported it. Sure. Then the next time, again, Anna was home by herself, and she was with the baby at this time.
Okay.
And she said that she heard like a noise in the back door. So she thought it was either Jeff, her fiance, or her father, or whatever it might be. So she looked, there was this guy standing there looking into the house. And so she couldn't tell what he looked like. This girl, I'm sorry, there's something wrong with this girl, but I'm just gonna let it go.
Wait, something's wrong with Anna?
I don't know. She's a little suspect too, because you'll see what happens. Like towards the end, so she called the cops. They came. Obviously, they didn't find anything. Whatever. And it happened again, some other time. And so it was like people are trying to break into their house. So then comes to find out later on, Anna, I think it was Anna, Kyle, the brother with the Down syndrome, and Bruce, who is Mel, the victim's husband. They ended up going to Applebee's, and they were going to meet Jeff there. Jeff is married to Anna. So they go, Jeff is there, they're eating at Applebee's and everything else. They get home, and Bruce walks in, and he finds his wife dead on the floor. Blood. Massacred. This lady was stabbed 36 times and shot 3 times.
Wait. Do we know if he stabbed first and then shot, or shot and then stabbed? Wow.
I don't know. Whoever killed her had it out for her. You don't just stab somebody 36 times
and then you shoot them. Yeah.
You want them dead. You want them gone. You just want them gone. So they end up, having the funeral and everything else. Jeff is one of the people carrying the casket out. He's so sad and everything else. And then you find the knife in his truck with Mel's DNA and his DNA. And then he pleads guilty, so no contest in a sense. So he's not saying he is guilty. He's just saying there's enough evidence on him. And so he's serving life in jail, and he's up for parole in 33 years. And we don't know still why he ended up killing Mel, but people have said that he really didn't like this woman. Like really, really didn't like her. But it's weird, and this is the weird part. Anna and Jeff were the only people who ever seen these intruders. Ever. Anna's seen all these people that were trying to come into the house, and then you find out Jeff was staging all these things for weeks. He was planning to kill this woman for weeks. So it kind of like is the daughter part of this? Maybe
Jeff is married to Anna, and then Mel is Anna's friend.
No, Mel is the mommy.
Who's mommy?
Anna's mom.
Oh, okay. That's weird.
Because Anna and Jeff were the only people who ever seen this. And so they found out Jeff was doing these things to make it look like they were criminals trying to come into the house.
Yeah, so it's like it wouldn't be put on him once the act was, because it's like we reported that to the police that we have intruders, no one, type of thing. So if anything happened, it's these intruders that did it.
Exactly. And so I'm not saying she was part of it. I'm not going to blame the daughter for any of it. Maybe she didn't know. Maybe he was doing this stuff. Maybe he had his friends over, but I don't know. Just it didn't sound right. It didn't sound right because I'm sure they got some kind of money for
Or like
from
life
her life
insurance
insurance.
or something like that. So what happened to the other kids?
Well, sadly, Kyle, he doesn't understand. Sorry, the fire department. Kyle doesn't understand that his mother is gone, doesn't realize she's not coming back. And it was reported that during the funeral, he just happily looked out the window waiting for his mom. And like every once in a while, apparently, he still waits for his mom. Like he looked out the window looking for her to come home.
That's sad. That's like beyond sad in a sense of like, why would you do something like that? You know what I mean? Because like say,
He
why
had
did
financial problems, apparently, too, as well. Like,
well, Jeff was having financial problems.
so there was a part where they were supposed to get married, and the hall that they rented, Jeff's credit card was like denied 3 times, so declined 3 times. And so he knew that Anna's mom, would have been really upset. Melinda would have been really upset if she found out that Jeff doesn't have money,
To
even
pay
though
for
he
her daughter's
said
wedding. Yeah.
he was going to pay for the wedding because they've been living at their house.
Oh, so he was living with the girl and her mom.
Yeah, the whole family.
But I don't get it. Like, say, for example, you're not a part of this family, right? And this family was kind enough, to like say, okay, she have these children to take care of. And she does have a child with a disability. So that's a lot on her. She's taking you in here and everything. You and her daughter are dating or whatever, going to get married, and then you go kill her. Like, leave.
I think he was selfish. Like I said, if you look at his picture, you could just tell. I hope you pull up that picture. He's just creepy looking. He's into. He stabbed a woman 36 times and shot her 3 times. That's overkill.
No,
She's
that's
dead.
beyond. That's like hatred. Like you to stab someone that many times. That's a lot of hate that you had. It's not even just saying that you want to make sure the person is dead. That's just a lot of hate.
They say that using a knife or something like that close, like
Yeah.
strangulation and stabbing, is like that's like anger, because you are feeling every single time you pull that knife out, every time you push it in. Like shooting, I'm not saying any forms of death is great, but he really hated this woman, hated her. Anna got me a little, that whole like, oh, well, there were people breaking in, like, or people trying to break in, and she was the only one. Her and Jeff were the only ones that saw this, was a little weird. I can see she was sad, but I don't know. I'm just gonna put my 2 cents there because that seemed a little fishy. But maybe he was doing it. Maybe he was
Because I'm
doing it.
wondering if maybe Anna was a little off herself, like not maybe altogether
Yeah.
there. And then it's like you have a guy that comes in or whatever, probably, manipulating her, and maybe why he didn't like the mother, because his manipulation wasn't working on her. Like she probably had actual expectations.
Yeah, it could be. It's kind of, I don't know. I'm not gonna say she's part of it, but I don't know. Weird blinking motion. You see that?
I don't know, because I would think that how you talk about this guy being selfish and everything, wouldn't he have ratted her out like as an accessory?
Maybe he just cares about his kids. His kid knows that she's gonna get the money. I don't know. I don't know. People do that. People will take the rap for their children. People will take the rap for weird things like that. But him holding the casket, him having
Wait, he
he
was
just
holding the lady's
yeah,
casket.
yeah, yeah. My whole thing is he that day of her death, he stabbed her 36 times, shot her 3 times, and then went to Applebee's with the husband and the rest of the family. And then he drove home with them, let the husband go in first to find his wife dead, and then call 911.
What was the husband's reaction when he saw that his wife was dead?
Devastated. There was 2 phone calls, the husband and him.
Well,
They
I mean,
both
like, did
called.
he like when the people started suspecting Jeff? Did the husband start like trying to beat him up, or?
I think at that time they already had him. They already had him because once they found like all the different, because he told the investigators he went to his aunt's house that day, pumped gas, and then went to Applebee's. He didn't do that. He
He took a stop.
murdered somebody,
Hmm.
and then he went
I
to
don't know, but
Applebee's.
this makes you wonder, like, say, like she and her husband were being kind in the sense of, the daughter has a boyfriend, have them moving in with them is like, it makes you wonder, like, should you be so kind to others? Because like it's always a story where people always say like, oh, this person would never do this, they were so nice, they were helpful, they were this and that it kind of makes you feel like, okay, a lot of times you cannot see the culprit in plain sight. And the fact that he was holding her casket, he went to dinner, he did all these things as if he was a part of the family, in a sense of, I'm just as confused as everyone, but he was the culprit behind this whole thing. Is like, should you open up your home to people?
It's really like a roll of the dice. Because I mean, how many mother-in-laws out there aren't killed by their son-in-laws?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the sad part is like she tried to treat him like part of the family. She tried to take care of him like he was part of the family. He went to all these different dinners and events and stuff like that. They're letting you raise your kid here. They're letting you just live here and everything else. And you pay her back and you pay back the whole family by taking somebody away. I wonder if he had like a horrible life and he wanted to take something back. Like he wanted to, you know how people get jealous? I wonder if that's what the case was. Because I don't think he had a good life. I don't think he had, a really good family type family like that and had a good mother like this woman who was loved by everyone in the community. Everyone.
I don't know. I
Literally
just have
everyone.
I just have the feeling it's more like maybe like within this family she was the matriarch, in a sense of keeping everyone together and everything. And now that he was integrated into their family, there were certain rules and there were certain expectations, because you said that he was going to have a wedding and then it's like he lost all this money or whatever, that he didn't have to pay for it. I'm wondering if is that she was placing, like, she didn't let him get away with stuff, or she didn't believe his BS, and he didn't like that, so he had to get rid of her
That's true.
in order to do all the stuff that he wants to do. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking more of, because why not go after the father? You know what I mean? Why the mother?
Well, they said that he really hated her.
I
As
mean,
his
that's the only way I could
friends,
see, like, like men and women having friction in the home, especially like you're not married to that person or you're not in a relationship with that person, where you will have some people come into your homes trying to like rule your own house. Like, I could see maybe he's like, oh, I'm the man, I what I say go. And maybe she just wasn't having it.
no. Well, the daughter Anna, the one that was the fiance,
Yeah.
basically stated like you're an egotistical little boy. That's what she called him um
Oh, wow.
during court. And she said that. She's like, I can't even call you a man because a man doesn't hurt their loved ones. But he didn't love her.
Maybe I don't know, maybe like her eyes were like the wool over the eyes, because for her, I was think that once she called him those names or whatever, then if she was a part of it, he would have rat her out, because like you're taking a dig at his ego now. So
It's
it
true.
so it could be where like she probably it's like, like when people are in love or whatever, they overlook some things. Maybe she did have not resentment, but something towards her mother, that things that he was happening to him, she kind of like, oh well, my mom does that to me too, type of thing. But I would think as a man that is into your ego, for her to stand there, and unless you guys planned it, that's what she was going to say, to not make her seem like she's a part of this. But for someone to say that, I would think that you like, how dare you say that about me? I'm going to rat you out now.
It's true. It could be that. I I really don't know. I just feel like it's hard for me. The worst part, and maybe it's not to everybody else, but for me, it's just the son never understanding that his mother is
He's not
now
coming back.
not coming back.
Oh, that's beyond sad. That's why I said, like, did he really care, like, to leave Anna to take care of his child? Because he took someone else that really needs his mother away from her.
But that's a thing about
Me.
you.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's not. I don't care about that person. That's not my kid. Why do I need to care about that?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
almost narcissistic in a sense.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know, like my kid is an extension of me. This person not related to me is not an extension to me, so I don't care. I think he, like I said, I think he did overkill, and I really think he really extremely hated this woman. He wanted to make sure she was dead because there's no coming back from 3 shots, 36.
No, like all those stabbing and then you're shooting. Because to me, it's almost like, now you shot me to make sure that I'm dead. So like you stab me for me to suffer, to feel all your hate, all your pain that you feel I inflicted on you, that you're inflicting on me now, and then you're shooting to make sure that I'm dead.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm surprised like no one heard this. Like they live in a place where people are not like so close together house-wise, or
I mean, I think the houses were like almost like how my where I live is.
yeah. But I
So
would think
they're
if
kind
someone
of,
was shooting, that they would hear where you are.
people don't pay attention.
It's true.
People don't pay
It's true.
attention. You might think that I mean, by me, people shoot too, and you hear it every once in a while, but sometimes they're shooting at bears. They're shooting, at wildlife around here. Um, you hear kids screaming all the time. Like sometimes you just don't know what is what. Like if I hear noises, like we heard a dog howling and sound like pain.
Mm-hmm.
We went outside to check. The dog's just walking around.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, just it's somebody's dog, and they're just walking around, just
doing their thing.
making noise. So it's like, what do you listen to? What do you not? What do you listen to? What do you not?
Especially if
Um,
things are always like if it's frequent, if something is frequent, you automatically will just tune it out, probably. So I remember, like, I don't know about you, like when I lived in the city, we lived near the train. And every time the train would go by, when we first moved, you would hear it all the time. And then after a while, you don't even remember that the train
you don't notice.
exists.
You don't notice it, but at the same time, it's like how many people have been killed in an apartment, and nobody seems to call the cops. And then later on, when the cops question them, they're like, "Yeah, we heard screaming." Oh, you now heard screaming.
But like, I don't know,
That's
but they
great.
scream all the time.
Yeah, all the time. I'm having deja vu right now.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't like
Just have deja vu. I don't like that either. I'm like, is Fox okay? Like,
that.
no,
No,
it's just
but
weird.
yeah, no, but that's an interesting case because, like I said, for me, it leads to like, who are you bringing in your home, and like you have to kind of vet people a little bit better.
I'm sure Anna feels very responsible for her mother's death.
Because she brought this man into the home. Yeah.
Because that's the last thing you ever think of. Like, my boyfriend's going to kill my mom one of these days. You're not thinking of that. You're thinking of happily ever after. You're thinking about your future
Yeah,
and everything
they're gonna
else.
get married, then we're gonna move out and get our own home together. Yeah.
But to now be like, the guy that I brought home kills my mom. And she would have still been here if I didn't bring this man home, if I didn't have a kid with him, if I didn't fall in love with him. You fell in love with a man who killed your mom, who eventually killed your mother.
That's
And you
beyond.
have a kid by him. And you have a kid by him.
You see, that's the thing. Is like now you're forever tied to him.
Woo. So that was that one, because I felt like it's good people. She was a good person. And none of this was necessary, because there really wasn't a reason. I'm not saying if there was a reason, but there was really nothing. It was just a waste of life. It was just taken, and she could have done so much more in the community. And he was a loser. Sorry, he was a big loser. And he didn't do anything for his community or anybody else. It's just sad, because people like that, you feel like shouldn't be here. But then they
No,
take
it's
away
always like,
people.
the people who get taken
I'm not
away are the
saying
ones.
people should die. I'm just saying.
No, it's like almost like, whatever issue that he had, he should have dealt with it in a better way. Because then now you have, like you said, a kid that is still probably looking for his mom to come back and not going to be able to ever understand that his mom is not coming back. So then how does that impact that child? How does it impact the other children? How does it impact his, her husband? You know what I mean? Like, that's just foul.
So that's the case about Melinda Pleskovic. Pleskovic. There we go. I'm going to say her name right. And she was only 49 years old.
Oh, that's very young. That's very young.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right,
There
I guess thank you for joining this episode that we have. Please make sure to check out the other episodes. And if you like this video, this type of content of where, we're sharing these stories, as Uni had mentioned in the beginning, just because we're interested in the breakdown of it and why people do what they do. And we hope that as we are kind of dissecting it, you also learn something from it. But anyway, please join us again for another episode. And we thank you for joining us for this one. And we hope you have a wonderful day. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.